John Colo at DiscountJuicers.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you. In this episode, we're going to get to do one of my famous juice-off comparisons against 4 different juicers, all the major popular style juicers up to date, juicing only one ingredient. That ingredient that we'll be juicing today is ginger. Look at this amazing ginger. I mean, this ginger is actually quite huge. And, you know, ginger can be challenging to juice for many juicers, right? And what I want to tell you guys right now is that, you know, I have the right juicer for you, number one, because I saw all the major brand juicers and all the major style juicers. And what I will also tell you is that certain juicers will juice certain produce items better than others. So, you know, if ginger is the only thing you're going to juice, then you're going to want to pay attention to this video. You know, if you'll be juicing ginger amongst other ingredients, well, then you also want to pay attention to this video. But it's not as important because basically all these juices will juice ginger to some extent, some definitely better than others. But what I would encourage you guys to do is figure out, you know, what you're going to be juicing most, you know, and find out which juicer are going to juice the items best that you're going to juice most. Oftentimes when you think of the word best, you think of, okay, what's going to get the most yield? So yield is only one factor that you guys should take into consideration when buying a juicer, in my opinion. You know, some other factors that might be important to you, I know for me anyways, is cleaning. That's at the top of my list, you know. Cleaning's super important. If the machine's too hard to clean, then I'm simply not going to use it, you know. And if cleaning's the most important, then you're going to probably want to go with this guy right here. This is the Omega NC800. This is the fastest juicer in the world that I have found to clean. It takes me literally 80 seconds. That being said, you know, it might be really important for you to be done really fast. And if that's the, you know, the most important thing, if you're done fast, you know, you want to get a high-speed machine. Because that one will juice literally the fastest of all these here. Another factor that might be important for you is a warranty, right? Then you wouldn't get that guy. You get one of these 3 machines. One of these 3 machines actually have a 15-year warranty. This guy only has a 1-year warranty. So that means you'll be juicing for the next 15 years. Guaranteed, you know, and it's going to be guaranteed against manufacturer's defects or, you know, breakage of parts due to no fault of your own. Another thing that might be important to you is nutritional quality. If you guys want the most nutritional quality out of juices, of all these juicers, in my opinion, and based on test data I've seen, this guy, the Green Star Pro, will make the highest juice quality, meaning the most different, you know, minerals as well as phytonutrients in the juice. And, you know, for me, that's why I'm juicing, right? You might be juicing, you know, ginger for flavoring in your kombucha, but when it comes to the end of the day, you know, the reason why I got into juicing is for my health, and that's probably why many of you guys are doing it as well, for the health. And I mean, if you guys have looked up the health benefits of the ginger, you guys know that gingers can be anti-inflammatory. It's good for this, good for digestion, good for, you know, air, motion, travel, sickness. It's good for all kinds of stuff, right? But the juicer that you use could give you more of those benefits or less of those benefits, and maybe in some cases, maybe little or no benefits if you're juicing it in the wrong way, in my opinion. Different kind of nutrients in the ginger can be affected differently by different extraction methods, right? And in general, I'm going to just say there's 2 style extraction methods. There's low-speed extraction methods, which are on this side, and there's high-speed, which is on that side. Other high-speed machines I might consider something like a Norwalk or a pure juicer that has a 4,000 RPM first stage of grinding, and or a champion juicer that runs at a high speed that tends to basically, in my opinion, oxidize the juice and cause excess damage to some of the valuable antioxidant properties and potentially polyphenols in the juice. The high-speed juicers make them lower. Not necessarily because of heat, unless you're using a Champion with a dull blade, or a Norwalk that doesn't have a nice sharp cutting blade, or even a Breville juicer, you know, that has a dull blade. But more importantly, because of the oxygen that's basically influxed or added to the juice as you're making it. This lowers the, you know, the antioxidant content, and this is something that, you know, based on my research, I want to increase to the maximum. So for that reason, you know, I only recommend using one of the slow juicers that I'll be demonstrating today and not the high-speed machine. So I mean that's pretty much like gives an overview of some of the pros and cons and some of the things that might be best and important and most important to you. So I get emails every day. What's the best juicer for this or the best juicer for that? Like, and then I write them back. How do you define best, right? Is it most nutrition, most yield? Is it easiest to use, or does it encompass all these factors in one specific machine, right? And that's difficult. You know, if I say, oh, get this one, it's the best, but then you wanted the highest yield, and you know, in this test today, probably this guy's gonna make the highest yield. You know, but this one's easy to clean. This one also is more affordable than this guy. I mean, that's why I make these videos, so you guys can find out the right juice for you. You know, I went to different websites and Googled, you know, best juicer for ginger, and basically I'm getting like boilerplate answers. Somebody didn't really do testing, they didn't do research, they just kind of like went to some website, saw what somebody else wrote the same stuff, and they don't really give you solid answers. And this video is here to provide you guys a solid answer and actually show you guys when I juice the exact same amount of ginger in all these juicers, plus give you guys my commentary on how it's working, what's happening, what could happen, what are the potential problems that you may have, and how to avoid them. And I'm giving you the answers. You know, one of my friends, rest in peace, has actually one of the most watched videos on the best juicer for ginger, where actually she's using an Omega 8006, which is similar to this. This is actually the upgraded model, which she claims to be the best, and today we're going to go ahead and put that to the test. And, you know, so there's lots of misinformation out there. I try to provide you guys actually the truth and what really goes on. I have over 500 videos on this channel dedicated to sharing with you guys what happens when you use juicers to juice different things and comparing juicers side by side. Because honestly, one of these juicers will be better for you than the other. Which one? That depends on your specific needs, what you want, what you don't want in a juicer, features you like, features you don't like. And that's why I make so many videos, so you guys can be an empowered customer, empowered consumer, and know the truth instead of just, you know, some random website where a person probably never juiced before is writing articles on what juicer is the best because they have Amazon affiliate links, right? So I would encourage you guys to support me and my work so I can continue to make these educational videos. If you have gained knowledge, gained information, gained understanding, and more importantly, if I've helped you, please make your purchase at discountjuicers.com. This allows me to continue to make these videos, buy my ginger, pay my mortgage payment, pay off my car, all that kind of stuff. And so I appreciate that a lot. I love the work that I do. I'm glad I get to share the knowledge about juicing and the passion that I have about juicing with you guys. And I appreciate you guys, for those of you guys that have supported me in the past. And I want to thank you guys for those of you guys that will support me in the future by making your purchase at discountjuicers.com. That means the world to me, as well as, I mean, this is my life, literally. I also want to let you guys know that we do have a price match policy. You know, I would encourage you to spend and make your purchase at Discount Juicers at full price. But if you need to make sure you save the extra $5, we will match any other retailers, you know, that's authorized delivered pricing on any of the products we sell, provided they have it in stock. Please just let me know. Contact me. There's a link down below in the description. You could contact me directly. Give me a link to the lower price. I'll verify that, provided they're an authorized dealer. I'm glad to basically get, you know, match the price so that you guys could support me and all these valuable videos that I make, and I could continue to be around to make these videos and continue to test and juice different items in the future. So thank you. So without further ado, I want to go ahead and get into the juicers today. What juicers that we will be demoing today or testing, juicing the ginger, some of their pros and cons really quick, how they work, how they're the same, how they're different. And then we're actually going to just get into the ginger. I'm not going to get into detailed reviews of taking these each apart and showing how they work. I have other videos for that, so check the links down below in the description for specific videos on this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy. Alright, so with that, the juicers that we'll be using today, first over on this side, is called the Breville Juice Fountain Elite. Now this is touted as one of the best juicers on the world, blah blah blah. It's a high-speed machine, it's all stainless steel, and people tend to like that. The challenge I see with this machine is twofold. Number one, I mean, it has only a 1-year warranty for a $300 machine. It only has a 1-year warranty, and that's extremely short. On this machine, the blade will wear out over time, and you'll have to buy new blades. And in some cases, I've seen Breville actually being out of stock on the blades on this model for, you know, periods of time, which means people can't get new blades because the blade does wear after using it a lot, which kind of is not so good. The other thing I don't like about this machine is that it's fairly loud, and it sounds like an airplane taking off in the kitchen, as people have described it. We'll go ahead and turn this on for you guys. Starts slow, but then it really cranks up really high. Now the reason why I gotta yell at you now is not because I'm mad, but it's because you guys can't hear me over the juicer. I mean, literally it sounds like an airplane taking off. And the reason why it's so loud is because it is running at extremely high speed, in excess of 10,000 revolutions per minute, and that's quite quick. You know, this means you'll be done quick, but it also means it's going to basically put more oxygen in your juice, which in my opinion lowers some of the antioxidant and polyphenol content, the nutrients in juices that are affected by, being oxidized, literally. And so, yeah, and then this guy also takes a little bit of scrubbing to clean, not super bad on the cleaning. But yeah, oh, the other thing about this is that every style of juicer here has its pros and cons. Actually, on root vegetables such as carrots and beets, celery in general, this machine is going to yield fairly well, but it's always going to make the lowest quality juice of any of the juicers that are actually being sold today. This style machine is also sold at a local big box store. If you go to buy a juicer, most juicers are actually this style, centrifugal ejection style machine. If you're trying to juice something like leafy greens, you could put leafy greens in there and then it'll spit out whole chunks of leafy greens that are simply not getting juiced. This machine is not efficient for juicing leafy greens. It also can't juice wheatgrass, whereas the rest of the juicers on here can effectively juice wheatgrass. The other thing with fruits, when juicing fruits, actually this does a fairly decent job at fruits. It tends to aerate the fruits a lot, and also will give big chunks of unjuiced fruit out in the pulp. The pulp tends to be actually fairly wet, depending on what you're juicing, especially on fruits. The pulp is really like mush. I think that's about all I have to say about this style machine. And the other thing is, if you want to store your juices, don't use this style machine because of the oxidative damage. There's less antioxidants in the juice that you made, and when you store it, it's not going to store as long, and you're going to lose significant nutrients very quickly. The other thing I like to point out on this guy, finally, is that the taste of the juice does not taste as good. When we taste juices, we taste literally nutrition, and because this machine does not pull out as much nutrition, the juice does not taste as sweet, as good, or as delicious. Based on taste testing I've done with audiences, when I get in presentations in person. All right. Next machine we'll be talking about is the Omega VSJ843. And I got to give you guys a disclaimer. The VSJ, this is my personal unit. This is my favorite juicer in the whole world that I found at this point in time for me and my juicing style. I'm not going to say it's the best for you. I'm not going to say everybody in the world should buy this machine. But I like this one the best because of all the juicers. It offers the best price, performance, cleaning, ease of use, speed of use, and versatility of all the machines that I'm testing out today. This one has a 15-year warranty, so you're guaranteed for the next 15 years of you juicing produce. Might be the last juicer you'll actually ever have to buy, which is really nice. The other thing, it runs at a slow speed, so unlike this machine, we'll turn this guy on. It runs at a low and slow 43 RPMs. I don't have to really raise my voice that much to talk to you guys due to the 43 RPMs. There are a few little, shakes and squeals on there. This is totally normal. 43 RPM, so basically we have a high-speed machine and a low-speed machine. If you want to maximize the nutrition, then you want to go for a low-speed machine. And I know the low-speed machines take a little bit longer to juice than a high-speed machine, but trust me, you are worth the extra few minutes it will take you to make a higher quality juice instead of a lower quality juice, because your body will appreciate all those extra phytonutrients that can help with the healing process, in my opinion. So this machine also is better at leafy greens than this guy, better at fruit than the Breville, for example. Actually, probably it's the best at fruit of all these machines here if you're juicing only fruits without any mixed vegetables in there. It can also juice wheatgrass if pre-cut, but if you want to juice a lot of wheatgrass, this is not the machine for you. I have videos on how to juice wheatgrass properly in this, and it requires taking scissors and cutting the wheatgrass up into little pieces, which is not the funnest thing to do. Now, this guy, when juicing carrots and beets, it can juice them without problem whatsoever. The challenge with carrots and beets is that the yield is lower, than if you put the exact same amount of carrots on this machine. Like, John, this machine's always supposed to be better. Every juicer has its pros and cons. In some ways, this is better than this guy. In some ways, this is worse, blah, blah, blah. You know, so I'm not going to, you know, fib you and say, this one's always going to make 30% more than that one. No, it's not true. You know, in many cases, it's going to make a higher yield. But, you know, the pulp, when it comes out of any machine, unless it's like a pure juicer, which is a two-stage grinding and pressing, you know, your pulp will always be wet. Actually, on these machines on this side, in general, you can always take the pulp and run it back through the machine. Although this machine, will fail in that respect. You know, it's not as easy to rejuice your pulp in this machine. You know, it's a lot easier in these two machines. But check the link down below, if I remember, for a link on how to get up to 25% more juice out of your pulp, you know, even using this machine. The other thing I like that this machine does is it's the best juicer making almond milk or nut milks of all the machines that I'm sharing with you guys today. It's fairly well balanced. It will juice pretty much everything fairly well. It takes me 3 minutes to clean, which is, you know, good for me. It's very simple. Pulp does not get impacted into the screen like some other vertical juicers that are out there. And I think that's about all I have to say on that one. The next up, we have the Omega NC800 right here. We're going to turn this on. This one's a little bit louder. This one runs at actually 80 RPM, so it's faster than that guy. But in my opinion, you know, just because of its, you know, whatever, 37 odd RPM greater, doesn't mean that it's going to make a lot lower nutrition. Actually, for all the slow juices, I would say it makes a fairly similar nutrition quality. You know, and RPMs have to play a factor in that, but it's not completely everything. Okay. This guy basically stems from an original wheatgrass style juicer, and so if you're juicing wheatgrass or sprouts, this is a machine I would recommend. If you guys are juicing like lots of leafy greens, like you're going to make leafy green dominant juices, then this is also the guy I would recommend. It juices leafy greens a lot better. You could just basically put them through. This machine actually does require pre-cutting on celery and leafy greens to be juiced properly, otherwise it can back up, clog, and you could have some really big headaches like a recent customer who was not pre-cutting their celery properly in 1/8 inch or 1/4 inch pieces minimum. She was just putting whole stalks of celery and expecting it to work, and you know, and it wasn't. And so I'm like, you gotta pre-cut your stuff. And so this guy, I like it because it's actually fairly quiet also. Once again, 15-year warranty. Excels at juicing leafy greens. If you want to juice straight fruits, you know, this can juice some straight fruits, but something like pineapple, it's really going to make a mess and not be fun to do. So if you want to juice only straight fruits, then this is not the machine for you. But if you want to juice, you know, carrots and apples and beets and celery and parsley all mixed up together in one juice, yes, it will work great for that. Did I say 80 seconds to clean? I think I said that. That's actually something I really like about this style machine. You know, this machine, I like on this machine actually it's auto feeding, so you drop items in and it basically sucks in on its own and it juices. On this guy you actually have to push each produce item into the juicer. So, I mean, that's all I pretty much have to say about that guy. And then finally we got the Green Star Pro. This is probably the high-end juicer of the whole bunch here. You know, this works instead of by a single auger that spins around and basically grinds and squeezes and presses out the juice. This has two twin gears that actually work more like our teeth in literally, you know, grinding and chewing and then, you know, mixing and then squeezing out the juice. So of all the machines here, actually, this machine is the most efficient on especially root vegetables as well as other produce. It can juice a wide variety of things. Although, if you want to juice straight fruits, this is not the machine for you. Although, if you want to juice fruits with vegetables and other things, it's going to do a great job. This gets the highest nutritional quality despite having RPMs over 100. I think it's about 150. Just because it actually has a bioceramic and far infrared in the gears that is said to help pull out more minerals out of the juice. And I believe that to be true. You know, I've seen studies and data showing that this machine pulls out more minerals, and also due to the pigment color change of the juice, in which case it's darker, not because of oxidation, but because I believe it's breaking open the cell walls, making more of the chlorophyll available, like say in cucumber juice, where I did a recent test with this, and that, actually juicing cucumbers. This one actually fared the best. I was amazed, and it had the darkest juice, which you could notably see the color difference, and maybe, I don't know if we'll see that in the ginger. The cons about this machine, it does take longer to clean. This is probably the most difficult juicer to clean that I'm showing with you guys today. I think it takes me about 4 to 5 minutes to clean this guy. Every time I'm done juicing with this guy, the screen is impacted with pulp. So I have to take this scraping tool that is included with the machine to scrape off the pulp out the screen, and then use the brush to brush it down. And then there's lots of little nooks and crannies and passageways that you need to clean out. Whereas, you know, these two machines are a little more streamlined. I like that there's no major nooks and crannies on this. There are a few nooks and crannies on this guy, just due to the shape of the design. This guy has a 15-year warranty as well. And, I mean, I think that's all oh, let me just go ahead and turn this on. This also is a fairly quiet machine, you know, so I mean, if you have the juice in the morning before your family or your roommates get up, you know, one of these 3 juices will definitely probably work for you. They're not really that loud. Or if you got a neighbor that bangs on the wall when you're juicing in the morning because he could hear you, you want to definitely get a slow machine. Yeah, this machine generally will yield the most and also get the highest nutrition if that's the most important to you. For people generally on a healing protocol or want to get the most nutrition, you know, I say give yourself the most possible advantage. You know, the most possible advantage is a juicer that will make more juice, which is this, and because it made more juice, it has more nutrition in there because, you know, even if it had the same nutrition, if it just made a little bit more, that's more nutrition. But this also pulls out more nutrients based on my in real world testing and actually test data that I've seen supplied by the manufacturer. I think that's about it for all these machines. I guess what we want to do next is let's get into juicing the actual ginger. Alright, so we're all set up and ready to juice ginger. We're going to use 2 juicers at a time today. We're going to first use the Breville Juice Found Elite and the Omega VSJ843, a vertical single auger juicer. Let's go ahead and first do a weigh-in of ginger to make sure we have a fair fight. Alright, let's go ahead and check the scales. 400 grams of ginger on each. Looks like we have 400 grams on this side and also 400 grams on this side of nice huge ginger to juice, and it looks like we have 400 grams on each side, so it looks like we have a fair fight. Alright, so you guys saw that we have a fair fight. We got the weigh-in done. We're going to go ahead and remove these scales off the table, and what I want to do for you guys today is actually we're going to go ahead and time to see how long each juicer takes to juice, since, you know, time may be a factor for you guys. You may want the fastest juicer. It may not be so important to you, but I know it is important for you guys, for some of you guys. Alright? So we got a stopwatch here, and I guess we're just going to go ahead and hit start, and we're going to just go ahead and start juicing. We're going to juice in the Breville first. So hit start, and turn this baby on. Let's crank this juicer, crank the ginger through the juicer. So that went relatively quick. Literally just took 36 seconds, was noisier than anything. And I don't know if you guys saw that, but like ginger juice was spraying out the seams and it was just making a mess everywhere. I didn't really appreciate that too much. You know, and that's one of the cons of this machine, man, because it's running at high speed, and on this machine the ginger tends to basically clog up the blades of the screen here, all the fibers. Oh man, I forgot to juice a little bit. I got to turn it back on. But basically, if I showed you guys this, the blade is basically getting stuck with all the ginger fibers. So this is not the machine. I do not recommend high-speed machines for juicing ginger. If you want to juice a little nub in your juice, it's probably gonna be alright. But any large volumes, you should definitely steer clear. And actually, I got to go ahead and turn this machine on to juice up this last little bit that we didn't get juiced. Alright, and actually I want to show you guys that because I was here to see what happened, but you guys weren't. I mean, literally we put that piece in, and I don't know, let's see, where did it go? I mean, I put a little piece in and like there's a whole piece that didn't get juiced, literally. I mean, it did a fairly good job at turning this into a, you know, pulp. But, you know, there's large pieces of ginger that literally just did not get juiced, although it was done quite fast and it made actually a big mess. Alright, so that's done. So that's good. 36 seconds total. Next, let's go ahead and juice in the Omega VSJ843 over on this side. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and hit the reset, hit the start. turn this on, and we're going to go ahead. We got to pre-cut the ginger to fit in the machine, and basically you're going to cut it against the grain, so not with the grain, but against the grain, so that the strings don't clog up the juicer. We're just going to go ahead and dunk that in, and I like that this machine is actually self-feeding, so that you don't have to. And we're just going to go ahead and let this run in juice. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and speed this up to save a little time for you guys, and we're going to come back at you when we're about done. Omega VSJ843. I love this machine. Literally it auto feeds, so literally you should not really be even using a pusher when you're using any vertical juicer for that matter. And you put the produce in and it juices on up. After you put the last produce item in, you want to just not turn the machine off instantly like you would with the Breville. You want to let it run until the juice stops dripping out and the pulp stops flowing out of the machine, which it is still running. Well, we could say it took 1 minute and 54 seconds, you know. I mean, I guess it did, but I'm going to let this run a little bit longer. I guess we could stop it at like about 2 minutes and say it took about 2 minutes to juice, which I think would be fairly accurate. And the other thing is, this didn't splash all everywhere just like the Breville did, and it made a nice juice here. I want to show you guys actually the pulp that would have been generated and put into each juice. So this is the pulp that the Breville made. You know, it's a lot more actually than the Omega VSJ843 made. We'll get to show you guys that side by side there. And if we look at the juice yields here, just trying to compare the yields just off the top here, it looks like the VSJ843 made a little bit over 300 milliliters, and the Breville made under 300 milliliters, maybe like, I don't know, 275. This made maybe 320, 310, 315. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and pour those into glasses for you guys, so you guys can see how much each juicer made compared to all four. And so we're going to go ahead and pour this out. This is the Breville juice here. Next, this is the VSJ843 juice there. Wow, it's a lot more juice. It's impressive. So once again, you know, I mean, in this comparison, easily, I'm going to tell you guys to not get a high-speed machine to juice ginger. Not only the blades get stuck on it, it also aerated the juice more, so you can see a lot more foam. And you know, always when you're juicing ginger, you're going to have this like white stuff at the bottom of the catch cup, and I'm not exactly sure what that is, but I think that's good. So you should mix it up and actually drink that stuff. And if you notice the color difference on these guys, like this one's a bit more lighter in color, this is a bit darker. That's because I think that's the aeration. But we're going to go ahead and just put these at the edge of the shot here so you guys can see these for the rest of the episode. Now I want to show you guys actually on the VSJ843 the pulp that came out. You know, literally this pulp, I mean, this is all the pulp that came out. There's probably still some things that are unjuiced in the juicer, but this pulp, I mean, if you guys look at that, it's basically just like almost like sawdust. If I squeeze this, I can squeeze out a few drops, but it's actually done a fairly efficient job at juicing the ginger. Now if we go into the Breville here, once again we see whole pieces of unjuiced ginger, and if I take this pulp out, right, and I squeeze this, look at that, I'm wringing out so much extra juice that this juicer was just not efficient at doing. I mean, this is what's happening when you're juicing many different produce items in a high-speed machine. You're not getting the highest yield, but the cost is the speed. I mean, this took under a minute, this took 2 minutes. I mean, it's twice the amount of time, but you get a lot more juice and a lot more nutrition. And that's why I only juice with slow juicers unless I'm doing a demo like this, in which case I have to use the high speed to share with you guys the difference. Otherwise, I really don't like to use them in my life. Alright, so now we're all set up with our next two juicers. We got the Omega NC800, easiest juicer to clean, 80 seconds, and the Green Star Pro here that makes the highest nutritional yield and quantity, or quality. So let's see how they do, and let's first go ahead and weigh in to make sure we have a fair fight. Alright, let's go ahead and do a weigh-in over on the side of the Omega NC800. Looks like we have 400 grams. Nice ginger there. And over on the Green Star Pro, once again, looks like we have 400 grams of nice ginger. So taking a look at both screens, 400 grams on each. Let's go ahead and get juicing. Alright, so now we're ready to juice. Let's go ahead and move these scales out of the way. I think I'll be juicing actually in the Omega NC800 first to see how that does. Let's go ahead and move these gingers over and out of the way there. Move these scales out of the way. And once again, I will be timing this for you, and we will be pre-cutting the ginger, as the ginger is a bit too large to fit into the feed sheets. That's one of the cons about the slow speed machines. You got to do a little bit of pre-cutting. But on the NC800 and the Green Star Pro, as long as the ginger fits in, you're all good to go. All right. So I guess without further ado, let's go ahead and turn this on, hit the start button, and we're gonna go ahead and just start breaking off little pieces of ginger, drop it into the machine, and pushing it in to get the machine to juice it. So to save you guys some time, we're gonna go ahead and speed this up, and we're gonna come back at you when I'm all done juicing. Alright, so I got the last piece of ginger to go into the NC800. This is actually juiced without any incident. Fairly easy. I haven't had to use the pusher too much, just to basically guide it in the machine, but once you get it in there and kind of push it down, the auger will kind of grab it. If you want it to self-feed, you could cut it into little cubes, in which case it will self-feed. You know, that's just a bit too much work for me. Once again, after you put the last produce item in, you're going to want to let the juicer run a little bit more, because it's still acting on that last piece of produce. You don't need to let it run as much as the vertical single auger juicer does, and of course you want to wait till the pulp stops coming out of the machine. Looks like it's pretty much done to me. We're going to go ahead and hit the stop button on that, and looks like that took about 2.5 minutes to juice the same amount of ginger in the NC800 than it did with the VSJ843 that literally was auto-feeding. With this one you have to cut it to fit in and then push each item in, which I find it's easier just to chop and just drop things in and let the machine work. Alright, so that's that. Let's go ahead and juice in the Green Star Pro next. Alright, let's juice in the Green Star Pro. We're going to go ahead and hit the start button there and get juicing. So basically you're just going to go ahead and put each produce item, or put the ginger into the machine, and you're going to push it in with the tamper. I like to use the wooden tamper, and we could break off little nubs of the ginger and just drop it in. To save you guys time, we're just going to go ahead and come back at you, or speed this up, and we're going to come back at you when we're all done. Alright, so I'm just about done juicing. In the Green Star Pro juicer, looks like we had a little juice leak because the cup was not under where it should have been to catch the juice, so we lost a little bit of yield. So I don't know if that'll count so much. It looks like a big spill here, but you know, in the end I don't think it's super a lot. And so that's the last bit of ginger going into the Green Star Pro. Once again, after you put the last piece in, you want to give the machine a little bit more time to work, you know, before you turn off the machine. That's probably good. Let's go ahead and turn this one off. Stop. And that took almost 2.5 minutes. So these machines are definitely this slower end. The Green Star Pro took a little bit less time than the Omega NC800 by like maybe 5 seconds. Alright, let's go ahead and turn this guy off and move this out of the way. And let's go ahead and check out the pulp here. So the NC800 made a lot more pulp than the Green Star Pro. And here's the pulp on here. And actually it's fairly, you know, ground up pretty good. I'd say probably equivalent to the VSJ843. If we pick a bunch of this up and squeeze it, you know, we get some juice out of it. You know, maybe not quite as efficient as a VSJ based on my squeeze test, but you know, that is, you know, just my personal opinion on that, or non-subjective. And then here's the pulp on the Green Star Pro. This stuff is super dry, like way drier. We're going to go ahead and use my left hand to squeeze it. And if we squeeze that out, man, I could barely squeeze a few drops out. So this definitely was the driest pulp of them all. Now, in order to check the yields, I'm going to use the exact same measuring cups that we used before and the same sieve to see how much pulp was put in the machine. Pulp can artificially inflate the yields you know, when juicing. So I want you guys to be aware that some vertical juicers tend to put a lot of pulp in the juice, which then will create an artificially high yield. But if you take out the pulp, then you'll see it actually didn't make as much juice. On the horizontal machines, I actually like to tip them up a little bit just to you know, get all the juice strips out. And let's go ahead and take this juice and pour it through the sieve. I think we are catching all the pulp, less than the Breville, maybe a tad bit more than the VSJ, but fairly similar. It's unfortunate that I had a juice leak on the Green Star Pro, because I wish I would have got to show you all the juice that it made, but some ended up on the table. And so let's go ahead and pour this through. Alright, so it looks like the Green Star Pro actually made a little bit more pulp than the NC800. If we just show those to you guys, compare them side by side. So I think probably if I had to order these, I'd say the least pulp was the VSJ, next the NC, then the Green Star Pro, and then I'd say the Breville last. And then on the yields on these two guys, looks like the NC800 made maybe 310, and the Green Star Pro maybe made about 300, but then we lost a little bit on the table, so I can't really tell you how much that is. Now the other thing I want to let you guys know that, inside the juicer there will always be unjuiced pulp. The last thing you put in doesn't effectively get juiced because it's still inside the machinery, inside the gearing, inside here, inside the auger in here that's not getting fully extracted. So you may want to take that into consideration, but that's just how it goes. And I put stuff in and I got stuff out. Hey, let's go ahead and try to do this for you guys. Since I want to make sure this is a fair fight, we're just going to go ahead and try to squeeze this juice off the table into my collection cup here. I don't think it's really going to add that much. Alright, I pretty much got most of that off there, so you can't say, oh, it's an unfair fight. I mean, that only brought it up to about like just a little bit above 300 milliliters, so that's not significant in my opinion. Alright, let's go ahead and then put this in the two glasses so you guys can see the comparison of all four juices. Alright, so looking at that, from this side, of course, the least juice was the Breville. The VSJ, I mean, on some levels it looks like it made a little bit more than some of the others. Next we have the Green Star Pro, which I thought was actually going to yield a little bit higher, which looks about fairly even with the other style juicers, actually. So all the low-speed juicers made about the same amount. Each one had their own peculiarities, of course. If you want the easiest cleaning low-speed juicer, then you're going to want to go with the NC800. If you want the machine that took the least amount of time to actually juice the ginger, like if you're doing large volumes, then you're going to want to use the VSJ. But then you're going to want to make sure you cut against the grain, not with the grain, so that the grain does not get clogged inside as it is being ejected outside a right angle turn. If you want to get the highest nutrition and potentially highest yield, maybe if we didn't spill and we're juicing a bit more or whatever, then you should get the Green Star Pro. Of course, also if you're juicing for commercial use, like in a kombucha bar or for a juicery, you need to have an NSF certified for the health department juicer. Then only juicer that I've tested in this episode today is the Green Star Pro. The yield is right in there with the other machines, so this is the machine you're going to want to get if you are doing it for commercial purposes. If you're just doing ginger shots at home, basically any of the slow juices will work except the Breville, which clogged the blades up and made a lower quality juice. That's the end of this video. I pretty much summed it up. Each different juicer has its pros and cons. You guys saw that for the slow juices anyway, they were all fairly equivalent in terms of the yield. Some may be a little bit higher than others. If I had to say one made more than the other, maybe the VSJ made a little bit more. I was surprised the Green Star Pro did not. And get the right juicer for you. So this is one video you should take into consideration when buying a juicer and how well it does ginger, but I have other videos on showing how these same juices will juice celery, how these same juices will juice cucumbers, as well as other comparison videos where I make all kinds of random recipes comparing one juicer against the other so you guys could find the right one for you. And that's why I do all these videos, because nobody else is doing anything similar to what I'm doing with the volume of videos or with the information I share, giving you guys the pros and the cons, the ins and the outs of all the juicers so you guys can make the best decision and best choice for you so that you will become a juicer for life like I am and be able to get more of these fresh fruits and vegetables into you so that you can derive the health benefits. If you guys enjoyed this episode, please support me in my work by making your purchase at discountjuicers.com. Link is down below to all the videos that I've shared with you guys today. Also, be sure to share this video for other people that are interested in juicing ginger. If you like this format, hey, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up. I'll do other videos in the future comparing all these same 4 juicers, juicing other different items. If you have any questions or comments, I do check questions and comments only for the first few days after the video initially goes up, but then there's only one of me and a lot of you guys, so I can't answer any question directly underneath the video. But if you do have a question for me and are in my service area, be sure to check the link down below to contact me directly through the email link, and you can ask me any questions there, and I will always answer you guys if you guys are in my service area, which is the United States and its territories. Also, be sure to click that subscribe button right down below so you don't miss out on my new and upcoming episodes. I have videos coming out about every 5 to 7 days. You never know what new juicer, what new vacuum blender, what new appliance I'll be testing, demoing, or comparing, so you guys get more fresh fruits and vegetables into you. Make sure you click the little subscribe bell so you get notified as my new videos come out. Also, be sure to check my past episodes. My past episodes are a wealth of knowledge, over 500 episodes at this time on this YouTube channel dedicated to sharing with you guys all the different juicers and how they perform against each other, as well as blenders and vacuum blenders, dehydrators, and soon, hopefully, even freeze dryers. So with that, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for our YouTube visitors.